welcome everyone. Today we are going to learn mathematics from standard 6 class. And our unit today is unit 25, where we discuss the area of different shapes. In standard 6, we discuss about 30 topics. And now we are going to share topic number 25, which is unit number 25, where we are going to be calculating the area of different figures. Let us look at what we are supposed to achieve at the end of the day. At the end of the day, by the end of this lesson, I want you to know how to find the area of a rectangle, and two, how to find the area of a square, and then lastly, how to find the area of a triangle. These are the only shapes we are going to discuss as we talk about area of standard 6. I have modeled only two. The first one, I have modeled this as the area, as the shape of a rectangle. This, I have modeled this as the shape of a rectangle. This is the way how a rectangle looks like. Then two, I have modeled this as the shape of a square. I have modeled this as the shape of the square. Lastly, I'll show you how the triangle looks like. But before we come to that, let me start with the rectangle. I have shown you how the rectangle looks like, and we want to find the area of a shape which looks like this. Now, people make a lot of confusions. They don't know what is the area of a figure. The area of a figure is the space occupied by that figure. The area of a figure is referred as the space occupied by that figure, which means we are supposed to know the space occupied by the figure, like the figure or the shapes which I've just shown you here. Now, I have already said we are going to find the area of the triangle, the area of the rectangle, and the area of the square. I should start with the area of a rectangle. Like what I have already modeled, like what I have already shown, I will also draw a triangle, a rectangle I should say. I will also draw a rectangle so that you see it. There we go. That's it. That's it. Yeah. I have just drawn a shape which looks like this. I have just drawn a shape which looks like this, and now I want you to know how you can find the area occupied by a shape which looks like this, which is the area of the rectangle. Now, you can only find the area of the rectangle if this figure has got measurements. If this figure has got measurements. Now, in my case, I'll put figures to this diagram. Let me start with this side. I assume this side should be 7 centimeters. Then the other side should be 5 centimeters. Remember, for you to know that this is a rectangle, it always has got angles which are 90 degrees. Now, I'll just demonstrate with a symbol of showing a 90-degree angle. In all angles, you'll find that the figure has got 90-degree angles. Yeah. So, in mathematics, you'll find that a rectangle has got another side which looks longer than the other side. If this is 7 centimeter and then this is 5 centimeter, which means this side is longer and then the other side is shorter, which is 5 centimeter. So this side, which is 7 centimeter, is referred to as the length. All right, the length. Yeah. In short, this length can just be noted with the letter L, the first letter of the word length. And the shorter line can be referred as the width. All right. Which can be noted with the letter W. Now, if you are to find the area of a figure which is a rectangle, you only focus on the side you have. If this side is 7 centimeter and the other side is 5 centimeter, which is just the same. If this side is 7 centimeter, it means the other side, which is here down, is also supposed to be 7 centimeter. If the side line, this line is 5 centimeter, which means this line also is supposed to be 5 centimeters. Now, how can a person, or how can you find the area of the figure which is called a rectangle? To find the area of the rectangle is very simple, whereby, let me now show you the formula. I'll write area. And now, because you know we are finding the area of the rectangle, I'll not write the area of the rectangle because you already know what we're calculating, or else it's just important that you remember every time area of rectangle. Sorry for that. Area of the rectangle, the C was not properly written, is equal to, I said this longer line is referred to as the length and this shorter line is just referred to as the width. So for you to calculate the area of a rectangle, you just need to multiply the length of that shape times the width. Yeah, the length times the width. These, as I have already said, you can either write their letters like L times W. It doesn't matter because the letter L represents the length, the letter W represents width. Now, if you have written the formula like this, now you start putting where you have the length on the figure, you pick the number that we have, as 7 centimeter on the length, then you put 7 centimeters. You continue times where you have width, you put the line which we have the number 5 on the width, which you write 5 centimeters. Now, from there, you are supposed to multiply the numbers you have. Now, we have 7 times 5. If you are also calculating there, I expect you to find a number which is 35. And now, because these they have got units, which are centimeters, then we write 35 centimeters. But because we are finding the area of this kind of a shape, then we are supposed to find this area in square centimeters. So we write 35 centimeter, then we put a symbol which represents square, which is a 2 on top of those units. If you were to write for the sake of marking, then you underline the answer like the way how I have demonstrated. Yeah, that could be the best way of calculating the area of the rectangle. Now, I feel like I should do a second example before we come to the area of the square. A second example, I'll write in words. I'll not draw a diagram. I'll write in words. Now I have to write this as number 2. I'll write find the area of yeah. Now we have the second example where I have written find the area of a rectangle whose length is 10 centimeters at sorry for that 10 meters and width is 8 meters. I liked figures. I liked these numbers according to the class I am attending to. I know standard 6 there are learners who can handle small figures. Now let us go back to what we can do if we are to find the area of the rectangle. Now, for this question, even if you cannot draw a shape, it doesn't matter. What matters? What are you supposed to find? Now, in my case, I know I have a question. Now I need to calculate. I'll just start calculating. Now, I have to write somewhere to show that I have started working. If I need to teach you also how to be neat when writing, you underline that with a ruler. Then you write your formula, which is area of rectangle. Now, as we have already discussed, the area of the rectangle is where you multiply the length times width. Yeah. Now you start substituting. From the question, we have 10 meters as the length. So we are supposed to substitute where we have the length, we put 10 meters. We multiply where we have the width. We have in the question where they've said width is 8, then we write 8 meters. If you are also multiplying with me, you can multiply 10 times 8. Now, in my case here, I find 10 times 8 is just equivalent to 8 meters. Remember, we discussed that the area is found in square. Whether square meters or square centimeters. But in this case, we have meters, which means I have to find this area in square meters. So I write my symbol to symbolize square on top. Then, because this is the answer, I'm supposed to underline. I underline my answer like that. Which means that work now is ready. If the teacher is about to mark, that work is now ready for the teacher to mark. That was the discussion about the area of the rectangle. Now, under this topic, we are also supposed to learn how to find the area of a square. Now, I want to take you where you are going to learn the area of a square. I have also modeled how the shape of a square looks like. The square looks like this. If you may observe carefully, the square, it looks like all the sides are the same. And that's true. The shape itself, it looks like in this side looks the same way like this side. In length, looks the same way again like this side. So we are going to find the area of a shape which looks like this one. Yeah, area of a square is where our discussion now is based. Now, I want to draw the same thing that I was showing you. Good. I feel like I have drawn something which has got the same sides. So a square is a shape with the same sides. This side is the same to this side, the same to this side, the same to this side. And again, the square must have an angle which must be equal to 90 degrees. So I'm drawing a symbol which shows 90 degrees, like that, like that. So this is how a square must look like. And if I am to find the area of the square, what am I supposed to do? Because all the sides are the same, which means we are not going to have the length and the width at the same time because we have different widths because of different figures that we have. But in this case, we are going to have almost the same figures, which means we will have one width. For example, if I am to put this side 8 centimeters, which means this side also is supposed to be 8 centimeters. The same way, this side is also supposed to be 8 centimeters, and the top side also is supposed to be 8 centimeters, which means for me to find the area of the square, I will need to use one number, which is 8. Now, how do we make the formula? In this case, if we were to mention this line as the length, then we cannot change to make this width, which means this will be the length and this also will be the length because all of them, they have the same measurement. As a result, the area of square is just the same as you just multiply this side times this side. So in this case, we'll call this side length. And this, because they have all the same measurement, we'll also say times length. So which means we'll say length times length, meaning this side times this side. All of them, they have the same measurements. Then we cannot change the words. So in this case, we just pick this line, which is 8 centimeters. We'll multiply with this side, which is also 8 centimeters. Remember, you are not supposed to multiply because here I've written 8, 8, 8, 8. You should not multiply all of these figures. You just pick this side and the sideways side. Thank you. Now, I hope you are also multiplying together with me. We have 8 times 8. In your case, I understand you have also found the same answer the way I have done here. 8 times 8, I have 64 centimeters. Remember, this is the area and I am supposed to put a symbol to show square on top. As the answer, I'm supposed to underline. I underline the answer. Yeah, so that is the way I can teach you on how to calculate the area of a square. There are more examples, but all of them, they are similar to what I have just given you, which means I have a feel like the same example can help you understand a lot of questions which are under the topic of square. Now, let me quickly rush to teach you the area of a triangle. If you happen to understand the area of the square and the area of the rectangle, let me now teach you the area of the triangle. That could be the last criteria which we need to achieve in this lesson. Now, a triangle, I didn't model the triangle to you, but now I am interested to show you where the triangle can be formed. Look at this shape. This is a shape of a rectangle. Now, I want to cut this shape into a triangle. This is a rectangle. Now, I'll cut this shape into a triangle. Now, how would I cut? I am planning to cut this shape diagonally. From here, I have to cut it up to this angle. I'll start from here to cut up to this angle, which means I'll make two shapes from here. I'll make two shapes from here. Now, watch me cut. Yeah, good. Now, I have two shapes from the rectangle we had. And these shapes now are almost the same. So this is a shape which we call it the triangle. This is the shape that we call it the triangle. Now, what made me become interested in cutting this shape? You may see that this at first was a full rectangle, was one rectangle. But now, the way I have done here, I have cut it into two equal parts, which means that rectangle, I have made it into two halves. All right, good. Now, what I am trying to demonstrate there is that for us to find the area of the triangle, we need to focus much on the area of the rectangle. Let me draw first what I have just modeled. Now, before I draw, let me write area of triangle. Yeah, that's our focus, area of triangle. Now, I'll draw what I have just modeled. Yeah, I think if you may remember, I happened to cut the rectangle into two halves, and the shape which I have just modeled to you are what we call the triangle. Now, you may see that at first it was a rectangle, and now we have two shapes from the same rectangle. Now, this will help us to develop the area of the triangle. So, how are we going to find this area of the triangle? Before we come to that, I want you to know that this, if it was a rectangle, which I modeled you at first, this was the base. This was the width. And then this was the length. But now, we can no longer say the length because this side we have the side, and here we have removed that side. And this side we have it, and here we have removed that. So, we'll change a little in terms of naming these lines, but now we'll say this side, instead of being the width, we'll now call this the height. The height. And again, the downside of this triangle now, we'll no longer call it the length, but now we'll call it the base. The base. So we just have those changes of naming these lines. But now we happen to cut a rectangle into two equal halves. We are interested in finding the area of the triangle. Now, from what I just modeled, we can develop the area of the triangle. So area of the triangle will be found by equalizing it to, remember, there are two, but they came from one rectangle. So, because we have cut one rectangle into two equal halves, which means the formula will also happen to have a half, because this has come from something which was full, and then we happen to cut it diagonally to make them two. So the half comes in just because we have cut the rectangle into two equal halves. Now we bring in half. I hope now you understand where the half is coming from. Now the side are now changed. We have the other side now, where we at first we had the length, but now we're putting the side as the base. We just say half times the base, then times the height. The height. Yeah. So for this formula, you can also write this formula in letter notations. For example, you can say half B representing the base and H representing the height. Still more, it will give sense in the field of mathematics. Now, I think if you have now known how to, you have now known the formula of the triangle, which means we can now calculate the area of this triangle. Let us have a question for the area of the triangle. I'll now draw another triangle. There we are. Good. Oh, I've drawn something very big. Okay, there we are. Yeah, there we are. Now, let me put numbers to this. Here, I write 15 centimeters. And here, I write 10 centimeters. Yeah. Despite this looks shorter than this one, but there's no problem. Even if I can change the figures, but it doesn't matter. What matters, the formula on how you can calculate the area of the triangle. Now, if now you have the figure like this, and then you want to calculate the area of the triangle, you bring in the formula. I still bring the same formula, area of triangle is equal to, like what we already said, half times base times height. Yeah. Wherever you substitute, you like that, you say half. Now the base is 10. You write 10, then times the height is 15. All of them, they're in centimeters. We'll just remember to write the centimeters at the end when we have the answer. Yeah, so half times base, which is 10, times the height. So when it comes to this level, it is important that you reduce or you cancel out the numbers. The 2 is a fraction, 1 out of 2 times 10, whereby you can cancel out so that the numbers are depressed, or the numbers look smaller for you to work them properly. What I'm trying to mean is like if you want to continue multiplying, you can find the answer in a short way if you know it. But if you don't know it, you can reduce the number so that you find a small figure so that you multiply it properly. In my case, I prefer cancelling out. Like here we have 2 down here. Into 2 goes there 1 time. And then into the number 10 can go there how many times? 5 times. Which means now the half is gone. The half is gone. And now you bring down the 5, which means times 15. Yeah. Now you are supposed to multiply 5 times 15. In this case, we say 5 times a 5. The answer is 25. then we put 5. We carry 2. 5 times 1, the answer is 5. We carried a 2, we add with the 5 we have found, we find that the answer is 7. So in total, the answer is 75. We have units which are centimeters, we put them centimeter, and because we are finding area, we put a symbol to show that this is area. Then you underline the answer. To show that you have reached the answer. I want to thank you for being a good listener. This has been a lesson that I prepared for you, whereby you have learned on how you can calculate the area of the rectangle, a square, and the triangle. I don't want to leave you without practicing something. Now, I have prepared something for you, whereby you are going to solve the following. This has been the topic exercise, whereby you calculate the area of the rectangles with the following measurements. Now, I have drawn you rectangles. You have to train yourself on how you can calculate rectangles. If you happen to lose track, go back to where I gave you the example of rectangle. Then B, I have given you 100 meter long and 45 meter wide. I understand the word long can be interpreted as length, and the word wide, you may know what is there. Thank you. Now, question 2, a maze garden is 70 meters by 70 meters. Find the area of the garden. What do you picture? I taught you whenever you have a question with the same measurement, and that becomes, I will not tell you. Thank you. Then number 3, find the area of triangles below. We have 3 triangles. Yeah, find the area of those triangles. Then lastly, we have question number 4, which says calculate the area of triangle which has a base of 30 centimeters and the height of 20 centimeters. I hope you are going to enjoy this lesson and you are going to enjoy this exercise. I thank you for now. Next time, I'll bring you the same topic, but now on other shapes. I thank you for now. Goodbye. Thank you.